This podcast is proudly sponsored by Joro Protein, a Rhode Island plant-based protein supplement company designed for athletes and adventurers. They deliver 25 grams of protein, 5 grams of BCAAs, and 18 essential vitamins and minerals. It's non-GMO, it's gluten-free, it's allergen-free, no artificial flavors, no added sugar or stevia, and it has no additional gums, thickeners, or fillers. Right now, you can get 30% off on this podcast with the code Rhody Strength 2022. You can find them at joroprotein.com. All right, what's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Rhody Strength podcast. We got another long-awaited special guest on today, Tommy Long.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well.
How's the headphones sounding?
Everything sounds good.
Sounds good. Cool. We got the new broadcast over-the-ear headphones. We've used them a couple times, but sometimes it takes a little bit of tinkering to get it.
You're moving up.
Yeah, exactly. I started with a simple mic and just a little more equipment. Every couple episodes.
Mixing board.
Yeah, we got the mixing board. You can input some sounds and like music and stuff in here. But you're just starting your own podcast.
I'm in the process of figuring it out. Yes.
And you got a nice little studio at your shop.
I'm creating a studio. Yeah. Bought myself a new Mac, microphone, headphones. We'll see.
Perfect.
I'm tinkering.
Yeah.
I'm coming up with some ideas.
Love it. What's going to be the overall?
I think the overall theme. It's tick. It's kind of what makes you tick. What makes people tick. And I just want to sit down with successful people.
Yeah.
And discuss what makes them tick.
Yeah.
And why they're successful and how they overcome things and challenges. And I'm intrigued by how people overcome things.
Yeah.
And when you have a challenge in your life and most people let it keep them down, successful people don't.
Right.
And
What makes them successful?
Yes, exactly. What makes people successful?
That's cool. That's kind of similar to how I got started into it. Was people wouldn't think that like Rhode Island's a small state. Like what kind of podcast market would you have in here? But I've in the same way like you're talking. I think each person, their individual story, we can learn from.
Absolutely.
Everybody, even they don't have to be a celebrity. They don't have to be like a pro sports. Like everybody has an individual story that we can learn from, and it's cool having it in a community where you some of these people. So I think that's what, and especially for me, like being in the health and fitness space, that's what I kind of try to keep it into. But
yeah, I mean, when you sit down and talk with people, whether they're famous or not, everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And there's some really interesting people out there that have come from less than nothing.
Yeah.
And created, businesses or companies or even just successful family lives. Just they've been able to get from point A to point P in their life right now. They're not done. And I think it's just, for me, I just want to meet people.
Sure.
I want to talk to people. I want to be around people. And it can't do anything but, enlarge my scope of intrigue. So it's I love meeting people.
Love it. That's good. And I think that's just from, because I met you at Bullfrog. Here we're recording out of the BullfrogFit Studios, which actually I forgot to put the video on. We might put it on in a little bit.
That's all right.
But but yeah, I think that's apparent just from meeting you here. I can tell I think outgoing doesn't give you justice, but like you're interested in other people.
I'm very interested in other people. I have a different background. I have what I find to be from around here. It's I've had dark moments in my life, and so when you're in a positive space like the gym, it just makes me happy.
Totally.
And I just try to share it and go from there.
And I think this gym in particular has a really good setup that allows for that.
Yes.
Like, for example, you could go to a Planet Fitness at any time, but there's so much people that are just kind of going through the motions. They're there for like in and out, or they're every once in a while, but you don't kind of see the same faces, or people that kind of come and go. But a gym like this, it almost has built that like almost like family reputation.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
You come in here and I mean, sometimes it can be difficult to get your workout in.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're talking to this person, and another person comes in, you're like, hey, what's going on? And you find yourself kind of losing your train of thought or your focus on your workout. But it's so much more than just a gym.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm not here to, blow up Jeremiah and Zach and promote Bullfrog Fit, but while we're at it, we might as well.
Yeah.
But the whole feel, the vibe of it, I've referred numerous people to come in here, and the feedback I always get is it's just a tremendous spot. So,
well, even like we were just talking about off air, I actually got a speeding ticket on my way here, which is my first speeding ticket in a very long time. So, but the cop goes, "Oh, where you heading?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going over Bullfrog." He goes, "Oh, I've heard that's a cool place." Like I'm like, "Oh yeah." He's like 24 hours. I'm like, "Yeah." So the word is spreading about it.
You were trying to drop the Bullfrog name to see if you could get the ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know they do support the Portsmouth Police.
They do support the Portsmouth Police.
So shout out
Portsmouth. I'm surprised you got pulled over. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
Yeah,
like I feel like I could be his friend, but he still he let me off easy, but still had a ticket at the end of the day.
Middletown's a little different. They're a little bit quicker to pull you over.
Which one's that?
Middletown. Coming the other way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to drop the I train at CrossFit One Asterisk once in a while. A lot of those guys train over there. But all right, so we're gonna get into some of the rapid fire questions next. So these can be as quick or as long as you want to, but they're more interesting for me. That's why I keep them in here. So we got first question is favorite coffee shop, and this could be in the area or just anywhere. I'm
not a coffee shop guy.
Okay, all right.
I am a straight Dunkin' Donuts, born and raised.
Love it.
I'm very uncreative, not original. I drink iced coffee year round.
Okay.
I don't vary. I wish I could go with, I know, not to drop another plug, but Custom Coffee House has a great, cold brew upstairs.
You get the one upstairs?
I do sip that every once in a while. I'm using it as a pre-workout.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm a straight Dunkin' Donuts guy.
Are you off the pre-workout now? Or are you still taking once in a while?
I haven't used pre-workout in months.
Nice. What do you feel is the difference? Or why did you go off it?
It never really worked well for me.
Yeah.
After the workout.
Okay.
During the workout, yes. Obviously, right? But there were too many times where I was like sitting, staring at my ceiling, not being able to sleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Zach's given me multiple kinds. Some are less stimulating.
Sure. A
little bit more even. And obviously it's sometimes the time of day you take it.
Yeah.
But I have found straight caffeine does the trick.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most potent part of the pre-workout is the caffeine.
Yes.
So it makes sense.
Absolutely. And for me, I've been tinkering, trying to figure out this whole training thing, like what works for me, what doesn't work for me. A cold shower.
Yeah. We'll get you going.
So I've tried to stay away from too much of the pre-workout lately.
Yeah.
I feel better.
I feel that. Zach's been tinkering around with that too, I know, more recently. Been trying to, because me and him had a conversation about it too, was if your body's always in that fight or flight mode, you're never hitting that other, so the sympathetic nervous system, like the high energy, you're never hitting the rest and digest parasympathetic. So you might not be recovering as much, which could affect just your gains, your muscle strength, but also just your recovery as far as okay, am I getting sick more often? Am I overtraining? That type of stuff. So that's something I know he's been really trying to dial into as part of his overall training recently. So there's something to be said for that.
We discussed that a little bit recently.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely contributing to his recurring illnesses or coming down with colds and just being more vulnerable to stuff.
Totally.
Completely, yes.
Yeah, and that's
But he's a psycho.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade here. He's
he's willing to put in more work than anybody I've ever seen.
And you add that in, it's just it's tough to keep up with.
True. Yeah, it's cool to be able to really focus on that recovery part now because I think that's going to be helpful. For him, for everybody.
Plus he's young, man.
Yeah. Next question we got is go-to breakfast. You have a breakfast spot? Is it Dunkin' Donuts?
No. It used to be Dunkin' Donuts. I went through a stretch before I was eating clean where I would be. No, I don't. I've been going to Food Works a lot.
Okay.
Right across the street.
Yeah.
This is like a Portsmouth plug. Quick, bacon and eggs, no potatoes,
Yeah.
no bread. Give me a glass of water and I'm out the door.
Nice.
I
Simple.
love eggs. I love bacon. I don't go out to breakfast as much as I used to. Corner Cafe in Newport.
Good spot.
Cool spot.
Yep.
Big crowds.
Yeah.
Can be a little bit of a wait. I'm used to greasy places up in Boston, where I grew up. That's the kind of breakfast I like.
Any shout outs in Boston?
Mull's Diner.
What's the name of it?
Mull's Diner.
MULL?
MUL''S Diner.
All right. I'll be on the lookout for that. Is it still around?
I don't even know if it's still around. I know they moved it across the street. So much has changed up there.
It's Southie?
It is in
Yeah.
Southie, yes. And I think they moved it into where Amrines used to be. There's so much change. I don't know. But if it's still there, check it out.
Cool.
It's the spot.
Next question we got is, I don't know if you're a big social media guy, but favorite Instagram accounts. So people usually relate this to like health and fitness or something they just find interesting or...
I follow a lot of different stuff on Instagram. There's a lot of golf stuff I follow.
Okay, yeah.
I don't even know the name of the accounts, but you can get lost there for hours. There's a lot of information on Instagram.
Yeah.
A lot of the reels you can really between fitness and golf is kind of where I live, and Morgan Wallen remixes is my zone. But there's a ton of good stuff. I mean, I'll save the videos and bring them into the gym and do little workouts.
Nice.
But I don't think I have any go-tos there either.
Sure.
But there is a ton of good stuff on Instagram. I love Instagram.
Yeah. There's a lot of motivates you, but also give you ideas of like, okay, I want to try this, like different stuff to try.
Absolutely.
Health and fitness. Yeah.
It's by far my favorite social media platform right now.
Yeah.
I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm way too old for that. Facebook is, I don't even know what to say about Facebook anymore. I like Twitter.
Yeah.
I like Twitter for news.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when someone's breaking something, they tweet it.
Yeah. That's the first.
That's the first
where it comes
spot.
out first. Yeah.
So those are my two: is Instagram and Twitter.
Cool.
And I love looking at people's photos and family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
That's cool. I like that. Next questions, I think will be a little more related to kind of what you're doing now, but favorite podcast or what do you like right now? What do you listen to?
Dr. Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, he's good.
He's the man. That guy is, he's something. I've been focused on the breathing,
Yeah.
the open mouth breather, chin hanging, just horrible for you open mouth breathing that I have been doing my whole life. I'm into that right now. I love Rogan. Rogan's classic. Andrew Schultz is pretty funny. Some good stuff there. But Huberman is, I don't know where this guy came from.
Yeah, he has exploded on the scene recently. And I'm sure he's been doing it forever, but I had never heard of him until like this year.
Yeah, and it's like every single topic he talks about, between alcohol consumption and diet and the way our brains work and tie it into our body and the breathing is just, I don't know. He's definitely in his pocket right now. He has got himself a spot. So it's pretty cool to when you see something come across. He always has something cool to offer.
Definitely. I think he's done kind of what Joe Rogan has done in a way of like optimizing the body, but really just boil it down into like, okay, this is what the entire podcast is about, or this is like my whole topic, instead of just kind of like going back and forth on different things. Like you can tell he puts a lot of time and effort into preparing and like with the notes and the outlines of what he's going to do for the podcast.
Absolutely.
The research is there. He's ready to spit it out.
He's just there. It's just him, and he's giving it to you.
Yeah.
And he puts it in a way that you don't get bored.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
That's key for me because I have a very short attention span.
And he still uses like really big like technical words, but at the same time he's able to like make it open to the general audience too, which is cool.
Yeah, like you're Googling while you're listening to him.
I really like Dr. Rhonda Patrick too. Have you heard her? She's been on Rogan a couple times.
I've heard of her, yeah.
She's a similar figure. She has her own podcast, but I couldn't really get into it as much as his, and I think it was because of that. Because she's so smart that the way she describes or portrays the information, I couldn't even follow.
Yeah, it goes right over your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be delivered in some level of layman's terms.
Yeah.
You know, and he's also very relatable.
Yeah.
I find,
totally.
You know, he seems, I mean, obviously he's highly intelligent.
Yeah.
But he's a normal, relatable guy, which is also why I believe Joe Rogan is so popular.
True.
Because, you know, he's super intelligent, but everybody can relate to him.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
So it's there's a cool landscape out there right now.
Yeah, there is. Let's go. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I want to get into your background here. So I know just from talking to you, you grew up in Southie. Or you grew up in Southie, or you lived there for a while?
I grew up in Boston. I was not born in Southie.
Yeah.
I was born actually in Dorchester.
Okay.
And at 3, we moved to another neighborhood in Boston, High Park.
Okay.
And then we ended up in Southie. Yes.
Cool. And high school sports or anything, or?
Yeah. Well, sports was everything.
Yeah.
To me growing up. I mean, if I didn't have sports, I honestly don't know where I would have ended up. Because when I was a kid, it was me and my sister, and my father. My mother passed away pretty young, and I had sports from Little League to basketball to Babe Ruth, and so every weekend that's what I was doing, and I was playing sports and staying out of trouble, and loved baseball. And then we moved to South Boston when I think I was probably 12 or 13. And basketball really started to take off for me at that point.
You're a taller guy, too.
Yeah, I'm a 6'3", and I loved basketball. Baseball got too boring. Really bad. I didn't have the attention span for it anymore at that point. So basketball became number one. And I did that for a while. Never worked out. Never lifted a weight.
Yeah.
Never did anything. I mean, it was the discipline was never there. When growing up, even playing basketball in high school, we would drink all weekend.
Yeah.
And then roll in on Monday, go to practice and play our games and do what we could do. But there was no training.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because these kids now.
Oh yeah, they're dialed in.
They're dialed in.
Yeah.
They have personal trainers. They have nutritionists. They have everything, and you can see it.
Yeah.
Their skill and their ability is head and shoulders above what it was back then. But the fitness part was never like I like to run and play racquetball and do whatever, but lifting weights wasn't in my game.
Wasn't part of it.
No.
When did you start getting into that?
Well, there was a couple of, I dipped my toe, I should say, into some weightlifting a couple of times, but I always went with somebody in my mid to late 20s who was way more experienced than me, and I would lift and I would try to push myself, and I would get so sore I couldn't lift for like 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this.
This is crazy.
This is nuts. Where's the bar? And I would go drink.
Was that about the time when Arnold was getting popular or no?
No, Arnold was the man. All the time.
Yeah.
So I'm 52 now.
Yep.
All right. So we're talking my mid-20s, 95.
Okay, yeah.
So Arnold.
So he was already peaked at that point.
He had already peaked for a while. I didn't really start lifting weights until I was probably 33, 34, 35, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
I had gotten sober.
Right.
And I had gained a ton of weight after first getting sober.
Right, okay.
Because if you drink for a long stretch and then you stop drinking, you're going to have to fill it with something. And for me, it was sweets and food and candy and
I choose.
high chews. High chews are my downfall, man. Still to this day. So I started lifting. I went to a different gym on the island, actually where I met Jeremiah. It was Peak Fitness.
Yep.
And hung out over there and lifted and trained and got in decent shape, but never really understood what I was doing. You would show up and guys would get together and lift weights and see how much you could bench, and then come back the next day and do something else. And so there was really no focus. There was no meaning behind it. There were no goals or anything like that.
Right.
I did
just kind of random workouts.
Just random workouts, yeah.
Which is fine for the new person coming in.
Yeah, and when you're that age, like you can bounce back. You can get in shape pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No matter what you do.
No matter what you do. I could roll in and in 3 weeks, I'd be in shape.
Yeah.
And then I got remarried. There's all kinds of stuff we can jump around here.
Yeah, totally.
Divorced, married, the whole thing. But I married my current wife, the beautiful Ashley, and we had my daughter Haley. So you don't have any children yet.
Nope.
So you take on a lot of the habits of the pregnant mother. And one of the habits you take on is the weight gain. So I gained a ton of weight.
Right.
And then I lost it, and then we had my son, Jackson, and I gained a ton of weight again. And that's when I reached out to Jeremiah. I had heard through the grapevine that this kid was... I just heard bullfrog.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what is a bullfrog, and why is it related to working out? And somebody was like, oh, he's got this system. I was like, oh, it's the bullfrog system, right? So
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It sounds just crazy enough that it might work.
Exactly. So I was like, you know what? Shit. Let me. I went on Twitter of all places.
Okay.
I found him on Twitter, and I messaged him. I private messaged. I still have the message in there. And he said to me, yeah, why don't we meet tomorrow? We'll meet at Starbucks in Middletown. And we sat down. And
No way.
yeah. And I was weighing 245 pounds.
Wow.
I was bloated. I could show you some photos. And he asked me, what did I eat yesterday? And I went through this litany of Tito's. I had a burrito, and then I went to Thai food, and then I had some ice cream, and he was like, all right, we need to get you in.
Oh, jeez. Nothing you ate is right. Yeah.
Nothing. I have a terrible, the diet part is, to me, the hardest part.
Sure. Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
I know I'm not alone in this.
No.
But I grew up eating really, really poorly food. Food was, my father was a single dad, and, he was stopping at McDonald's to feed his kids.
Yeah.
And you were eating chips and whatever. So that habit is carried for a long time, and it's been difficult for me to break. So I get in with Jeremiah. We jumped in at Peak Fitness, and he put me through a couple of months of these absolutely torturous HIIT workouts. We would only work out twice a week, but they were HIIT.
Yeah.
And my Lord, the weight just fell off. But it was, there was numerous vomiting episodes.
At the gym?
At the gym.
Okay.
Yep. I was not bashful. And then, it's funny. I think back, there was, I'd be working out with Jeremiah, and then this kid would walk by, and he'd have shades on, and you could just tell he thought he was really cool. And I was like, who is this? And Jeremiah was like, oh, that's my brother, Zach.
he had shades on back then, too?
Wearing shades inside, yeah.
That's his move. I love that.
Yeah, mirrored shades. You know him as, no smile, all business. And so at some point, he passed me off to him, and I've been with Zach ever since.
Nice. Hell yeah. How did you... So... Obviously, let's talk about the diet a little bit. How were you? Because it is the hardest part for most people. Because like we were saying the other day, you're in the gym for an hour, and then you have the other 24-hour day, you have 23 hours to basically make sure you're eating the right things and getting hydration and recovering all that. So, and I know it's still obviously something you're working on. Everybody's working on, but how were you able to go from the ice cream, the burritos, everything that's like starting to dial it in. Obviously, probably didn't happen overnight,
Is
but
Zach gonna listen to this?
maybe I'll send it to him. I'll send him the clips.
All right, so I can correlate it or relate it to alcoholism.
Right.
All right, so I've been sober for 15 years.
That's
I
awesome.
haven't had a drink or a drug in 15 years. But there's no alcohol and there's no drugs in my house. Right? So there's no temptations there.
Right.
There's plenty of food in my house. I have to go into my fridge every day and I have to look at foods that I probably shouldn't eat. I have 2 kids. I have a wife who eats whatever she wants. So and with alcohol, you can just completely abstain.
Right. True.
Right? You just
True.
You just
Just
don't.
don't.
You
Yeah.
just don't drink.
Right.
You can't just not eat.
True.
So there is there's the twist. So for me, if I'm really focused and I have a goal, I can eat clean.
Right. You're something I'm looking forward to.
If I have something I'm looking forward to, if I say, all right, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, I'm going to try to get to this number. If I don't have that goal, it's very difficult for me.
Same. Yeah. Same.
It just is. And it seems when I put certain items into my body, it just triggers this obsession, to eat more of it. So with alcoholism, that's what happens with alcoholism. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but when an alcoholic puts alcohol in their system, you almost have like an allergic reaction to it, and it makes you crave more.
Okay.
So a normal person drinks a drink, they have 1, they have 2,
They're fine.
done.
Yeah.
An alcoholic puts 1 to 2, they want more.
Yeah.
Then they want more. Then they want more.
Just doesn't
They want
stop.
more. It's triggering your dopamine. It's everything's going haywire.
Right.
Same thing happens with a lot of people with carbohydrates, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Sugars.
Yeah.
You put 1 in, you
Can't
want
stop.
more.
Yeah.
So that's been my biggest challenge when it comes to this whole fitness game.
Yeah. Because of that twist, because you can't abstain.
Can't abstain.
Right.
Unless you go
Keto or something
keto,
like that.
or you go the carnivore diet, which again, my greatest results
Carnivore?
have been zero or very little carbs.
Sure.
Like I mean, it's not this isn't rocket science we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty obvious, but the trick is doing it.
Yeah.
So like right now, I'm probably weighing in at around 225.
Nice.
Last year around this time, I was 239, 240.
Oh, nice.
But let's hold
Yeah.
on. So last April, we went and did an in-body. I was
Okay.
239. I did an in-body in the summer. I was 210. Now I'm 225.
Okay. So fluctuation there.
So there's a fluctuation there. It's always been the way with me, and Zach hates it. He can't stand the winter for me. Winter's very tough. I'm able to get motivated in the spring, shred the weight,
Yeah.
eat clean. Winter starts to come, I dabble, and then before you know it, I'm like, I get a case of the what's the Rock call it? Are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah.
Rock calls it the case of the fuckets.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
Fuck it, I'm gonna eat this.
Yeah.
Right. So it's okay if you get a small case of the fuckets on a Friday night and you eat something.
Yeah.
The trick is you got to bounce back the next day,
Sure.
get back in the gym, get back to clean.
Yeah.
It gets dicey for me because then come Saturday, I'm like, oh, fuck it, I did it Friday.
Right.
Right? And then it kind of takes off and I get lost a little bit there.
But if you have a really good goal in mind, then that will happen less often on the weekend.
100%.
Because you'll be more dialed in.
Yes, I'll be more dialed in.
What have you had in the past as far as goals? It sounds like seasonally you have goals. Like you want to look good in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
Vanity.
Yeah.
Yes. So last year we made a decision that I was going to compete.
Right.
We were I was gonna do a bodybuilding competition. I believe it was in September, and I was on track, doing great. Like I said, I think I my lowest I was. Now it's not all weight, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's a certain number you need to get down to,
Right.
to show what you have.
To get shredded.
Yes, exactly. So I was at 207.
Okay, wow.
That was my low, and I haven't been 207 in years, and I started to get a little crazy.
Yeah.
With my calorie deficit, I was going way too low. I was coming in here with no energy.
Yeah.
I was crashing. I wasn't following the plan as to. Then it got to I wasn't eating enough.
Right. So you're going too far over.
I was going too far over, too fast.
Yeah.
And so we kind of put a pause on it. Then I got hurt. My wrist was bothering me, and then I took the inner. What's a clean word for this?
It's all right. It's all right if it's not clean. That's all right if it's not clean.
Yeah. I had a case of the what do they call it, CVS. Yeah. And I just
it's a bullfrog only word.
It's a bullfrog only term. And I did. We didn't compete.
Yeah.
And so I put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
And so then winter came, right? And I've bulked up a little bit. Let's call it.
All right. Yeah, the winter bulk.
I had to. So I'm thinking it's a mind game, man.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like there's a couple people that have done it since. Monica.
Yes.
Did really well.
She did awesome.
She won. Rebecca's done some stuff. Liz
she did awesome.
Liz
did awesome too.
Awesome. Amber's
she's gonna
prep
crush
right now.
it. She's gonna crush it.
She's destroying it.
Yeah.
She's the transformation is unbelievable. But see,
she could probably compete just
right now. But here's what she has, and she knows she has this. She lives with Zach.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Zach lives with her too. They probably bounce off each other.
But if I lived with Zach, he's not gonna let you.
No, there's not gonna be any sweets in the house.
No, there's no. Zach walks around on a day-to-day basis.
Show ready
at 8% body fat.
Yeah.
Like he can. Like last year, I said to him, "You're not gonna do a show. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it." And I goaded him into doing it. And 3 weeks later, he won. He just shredded for he ate tuna for 3 weeks and.
He didn't have a long prep. He didn't have a long prep at all. It was quick.
It was bananas.
Yeah. And he was
I'm
in his
also
zone.
not here to blow up Zach's ego because he doesn't need any more.
Oh, that's good. So do you any goals any goals you're working on right now?
I'm pondering the idea of competing in July.
That's cool.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's up there.
It becomes this thing, and everybody means well.
Yeah.
But you put it out there.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like a topic of conversation when you see
right,
people. How's the training going? How's this? How's that going? And it's and then you don't do it.
Right.
So my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law's Tristan. His brother John Jay, who I call my brother-in-law, gave me some shit the other day. I said something to him about jujitsu because he's into jujitsu now, and
Is he here?
He's not here.
Oh no. Okay.
No, he goes to Mission.
Oh yeah. No, does he train here before?
He doesn't train. He's trained here a couple times with me.
Oh, okay. All right.
But he all he shares now between us as messages is jujitsu stories.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, when is this
That's another addicting sport.
Yes. I'm like, when is this novelty going to wear off? And he said, kind of like you competing in a bodybuilding show.
Oh, he took a dig at you.
And it was, listen, my wife said it's valid.
Oh, sure.
That's what my wife said.
She got the final say, too.
She got the final say. And so that is kind of sitting in the back of my brain right now. All right, so people are thinking, he said it, but he didn't do it.
Maybe the people that are super close to you.
Yeah.
I think other people don't really
put
any stock into it. Yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about Tommy Long.
Yeah.
They don't. But if one person thinks it, it's too many.
Okay,
right?
Fair.
Right? And
fair.
You know who the most important person thinking it is?
Who's that?
Me.
True.
Because I know.
Yeah.
I said I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I know I started out on that journey, and I know I backed out.
Sure. But I mean, I think you made a good decision, a good call at the time.
I did
with
make
everything.
a good call.
Yeah. Because you were going too far. Like you need to reevaluate.
It was needed.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've always, this is another thing, this is another trait that alcoholics have.
Yeah.
Is, you know, or at least this alcoholic has, is you do just enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You work out just enough to get in shape.
Right.
And then you kind of, you know, gear back a little
80%
bit.
it.
Yeah, 80%.
Sure.
You never push yourself. And I've said over the last few years, I just really would like to see where I could take it.
Yeah.
Like, how good of shape can I get in?
Totally.
And I think we all kind of go
Yeah.
through that, you know, and it's about
What's
it
possible.
all coming together and seeing what's possible. And so we'll see. I'm not easy to be around when I'm dieting like that.
Sure.
Right? Zach again. Back to Zach. Yeah, I'll come in here smiling. He's like, "You're not eating good.
He knows.
You're too fucking happy."
He knows. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what? How do you know? He's like, I can just see it on you.
Yeah.
You know, when you come in here and you got a little bit of an edge, you're eating clean.
Yeah.
And so, but I have to balance that with my home life.
Right.
Right? 'Cause
You can't. It can't become more important.
But I have a wife and kids.
Yeah.
I can't be grumpy all the time.
True.
Right? I just can't be. It just doesn't work.
Right.
You know, in that setting. Sure, it works being grumpy at the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You're here, do your thing, you're out. So, but I have to go home, and there comes a time when you're in that deficit where you just don't want to be around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got to figure out that balance. I'm intrigued,
Yeah.
and I think I turn 53 next week. This week.
Oh, happy birthday.
Sunday. Yes.
Let's go.
Yes, April 2nd. So we have a plan. I have another buddy who works out here. Brought him in too. My boy Billy Markham.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. My brother-in-law's here, Tristan. He works out here. So, but we have a kind of a plan to kind of start shredding.
Oh, okay.
So we'll
Little
see.
group.
We'll see.
That's the summer shred.
The summer shred. Let's go. July 4th reveal.
Let's go. All right.
There's a show in July in Springfield.
Okay.
I think it's July 22nd. So that's what I have. I kind of have my eye.
Like a soft target.
Soft target.
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't.
Whether it's on the beach or on the show.
told
Yeah.
Zach about this.
Yeah.
Because he'll probably be like, yeah, whatever. You're full of shit. So it's funny.
That's cool.
So he's funny. Yeah, I'll let it go. Go to the next question.
All right. All right. So that all kind of stemmed from your athletic background, and that's cool. We got to talk a little bit about kind of, the addiction with alcohol and kind of how that's kind of transformed you as someone like in the fitness industry. Because I mean, you do see that, especially with people who are alcoholics. They need something to kind of almost like you talked about before, like replace that with.
Absolutely.
Something, because you can't just be bored and like not doing anything, because then you revert back.
Yeah, well, you take something that big,
Yeah.
that all-consuming, right?
Right.
Away, you need to fill it with something, right?
Yeah.
So we fill it with, Alcoholics Anonymous. You fill it with recovery. You fill it with meetings. You fill it with helping other alcoholics. You fill it with a bunch of other stuff. Unfortunately, you fill it with eating.
Yeah.
Some people fill it with shopping, gambling, whatever. There's good fill, right? That really isn't filling it. It's just pulling away from it.
Sure.
Still.
Sure.
And then there's positive, So I feel like I've gotten to a place where fitness has become something pretty positive and it's rewarding. Now, if I can I just got to fine tune it to find that spot where I can, the diet becomes a little easier.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's a fun trip.
Like for example, I was just talking the other day about it. That I know nicotine is a totally different substance, but a friend of mine who's actually, funny enough, in Southie, who stopped. I think he was doing the dip. He stopped dip completely, but ended up filling the void with the seltzers.
Oh yes, yes. I've
So
heard
he
that.
was just crushing. Like he'd go through. I forget if it was 1 or 2 12-packs of seltzers a night. They'd
Really?
just be putting them back. I'm like, you got to be so bloated, but you know, like
The gas.
Yeah, yeah, the gas.
The gas.
But, so I've definitely heard that. So I had another question on here, but I meant to write down, but I don't think I actually put in my outline. Did you end up doing some work with the there was a basketball player who was
Chris Aaron.
yeah. Did you end up doing some work with that foundation?
I ended up. That's another alcoholic move I made. So very impulsive.
Okay.
Right? We're familiar with that, right? We all know Jeremiah. Jeremiah's got a rather impulsive personality. So
Sure.
does Zach.
Sure.
It's just, you see something, all right, yeah, I'm going to do it. So
Yeah.
a few years ago, I decided that I was going to run the Boston Marathon. I decided I wanted to run the Boston Marathon.
Sure.
I had never run more than 3 miles in my life. And I was like, how am I going to do this? So I looked into it, and you got to actually qualify to run the Boston Marathon. You can't just say, I'm going to run the Boston Marathon.
You have to be very good.
You have to be very good. Or you have to raise money for a charity.
Yep.
And so I have a relationship with Chris. We've known each other for a while. So I contacted him and I said, I'd love to run. Do you think I could run and raise money for the Heron Project?
Totally.
Which was his, he's got a couple of different arms on his whole platform that he does, and one of them is running. So he got me tied into it. I ended up getting a number. I ended up raising some money for the Heron Project, and I ran so I trained for the Boston Marathon in 2018.
Okay.
On my last final long run, I kind of felt something in my knee.
Yep.
Didn't feel good. It was a lot of pain on the outside of my knee, my left knee. And it was like 2 weeks out of the marathon, before the marathon.
What was your long run, like 18 miles?
20 miles.
20 miles, yeah.
I used to run the Bristol bike path.
Oh, nice.
Down to Providence, back. And I had to rest for 2 weeks, and you're supposed to taper down.
Yeah.
I didn't do any taper. And I started to feel great. I'm like, oh, my knee feels wonderful. All right, we're going to do this. So get up, marathon Monday, and we go up there to do it, and it's 40 degrees, 40-mile-an-hour winds,
Ooh.
and rain.
Oh.
And it is the
joints don't like that.
Worst weather you could possibly have. There were literally triathletes, like, stopping and collapsing on the side, like with like shaking and cold and wet. And so I was able to stay dry, but through the run at around mile 13, my knee just stopped working, and I just kind of had to limp in. So I do tell, we have a laugh about this. I finished in 5 hours and 55 minutes.
Okay.
Which is really long. It's a long time out there.
Sure.
I mean, some people do a lot longer, but but if you finish under 6 hours, it actually gets recorded.
Nice.
Everything over 6 hours, like, it's not even like you ever ran. So I got my medal. I finished.
Nice.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I was able to raise, $7,500, $8,000.
Wow.
Great program. And Chris has done great things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, when did your knee start bothering you? At what point?
About mile 12 or 13.
Oh my God.
So my wife actually went up and came out with my brother-in-law, Tristan. She was like, you need to come off. And I was like, I can't come off.
You did all that for the organization, all the money, yeah.
And you can't raise money
and not
then
complete
not
it.
finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then people are like, I donated, and
You're
so
like, just give me some crutches. I'll go.
It was brutal. It was brutal. Probably really dumb. I haven't ran. I have not run since.
You got it all out of the way. You don't need any more running.
My knee will never be the same. So it's but it was on my bucket list. I wanted to do Boston.
There you go.
And I did it.
That's really cool.
So it was pretty cool.
And you probably were running through a bunch of neighborhoods that you're super familiar with.
Yes. And saw some people that I hadn't seen in years. Hey, Tommy. So it was fun. It was a good time.
So we're getting towards the end of the podcast here. I'd love to talk more and get stories from you about back in the day in Southie, because every time one of those comes out, they're always so interesting. But I think we'll save that for another one, maybe
We can
your podcast.
We can do yes. We can do a. I can bring some people down.
Okay.
And we can share some stories. I don't know if
for whatever you're willing to share.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be promoting this for certain years down here.
Right.
Yes, I have plenty of those.
So to finish up, I just got a couple finishing questions.
Yep.
So we have. We'll go with this one to start. So back kind of on the fitness side of things, or health and fitness, what have you found to be the biggest? I call it a keystone habit. That's from the book Atomic Habits. There's like one habit that kind of dominoes like a lot of other habits. Or so. What's the one biggest keystone habit or tendency that you found that, going back to kind of your podcast, that's allowed you to be successful? Like either in like the health and fitness space, or even like with the break from alcoholism. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's actually the same thing they say in AA. You know, bring the body, the mind will follow.
Okay.
Get to the gym.
Just show up.
Just show up.
I like that.
It really is a huge. It's huge. Just show up. It's like I work with some guys who, I tell them all the time, your greatest ability is reliability.
Nice. I like that too.
Right? And because sometimes just showing up is enough.
Oh.
I mean, you've experienced this. You come here, you get to the gym, you're like, I don't want to work out. I don't want to do anything. You just come in here, you sit in the sauna. You're unmotivated, you hear a good song, you go up there, you start to stretch, you're like, whatever. And then before you know it, an hour and a half later, you're leaving here and you killed a workout.
Yeah.
And you're flying high. And if you don't show up, you don't give yourself that opportunity.
Totally.
So that's my biggest thing is just showing up, being accountable, being present.
Love that. That's good. On the flip side of that, what have you found to be the biggest sticking point or roadblock?
Food.
For you? Yeah.
Food.
Yeah.
Food. I can come in here. I can show up. I know how to show up.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how to consistently not want to go after that immediate satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That impulse control. Like when your brain tells you go for that snack or go for this on a consistent level, I haven't figured out how to stop that.
Right.
And I think I see it in here all the time. You see people and you experience people, and I know people. They're coming into the gym for days and weeks and months, and they're working out, and they're killing themselves, and they're like, why isn't anything changing? All right, I know Zach hears this, and Jeremiah hears this. Food, and it's alcohol, but it's food. It's we go in here, we come in here, and we work out, and we beat our bodies up, and you burn all those calories, and you build that muscle, and then you leave here, and you counteract that and put bad stuff in your body. It really doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't.
And again, I don't want to keep talking about alcoholism.
Yeah.
But in recovery, they talk about it. It's not alcohol that's the problem. All right? The problem lies in our mind.
Sure.
It's our thinking.
Sure.
And it's the same thing here. The problem isn't the physical part.
Yeah.
The problem lies in our mind. Like why when that thought enters our head and says, go have that pizza or whatever, like how do you get that stop there? How do you build that block?
Right.
Zach has it. I've never met, he's a freak.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's 25 years old, however old he is. He doesn't drink. He eats clean, and he's a machine.
He's all in.
He's all in. And, but that's the biggest sticking point, the biggest difficulty I've had and what I find. And hopefully 10 years from now, I won't be saying the same thing.
Love
hopefully
it.
I can be saying that I overcame that and I figured out how to be consistent and how to really reap the rewards and get what you put into it by also doing it at home and in the kitchen.
Well, I think like the more you almost focus on it and realize that like this is your sticking point, you kind of find more ways to attack it.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
and you got to speak it out.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
let people know, because you can hide in here.
Yeah, you can hide.
You can hide. You
yeah.
can come in and do your thing and sweat and, hey, how you doing? Oh, good. You eating clean? Oh, yeah, I'm eating clean. And,
Yeah.
you know, you get in your truck and you get wrappers.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And I don't mean
The truck test. All right,
mean,
roll down the window. Let me
Yes.
see what's in there.
Yes, yes.
All right, let's go to your truck right now.
Yes,
See.
there's Wendy bags and there's French fry bags and
Yep.
yeah. So it's it, man. And I watch you. You know, let's not sleep on Matt. I watch you come in here and you're consistent, and you come in here and you bust your ass, and I see you working out. I see you lifting. I don't think since I've known you, I've seen your weight fluctuate at all.
Well, I appreciate
you're
that.
doing something right. So,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
share some of that wisdom.
All right, so we'll finish up. The last question I ask is kind of a tough one, but if you have a favorite quote, mantra, or saying. So the way I describe this is, it's Tim Ferriss's podcast. He does this. He goes, if you have a billboard on 95,
Yep.
you get the heavy hitter, Rob Levine. You can take his billboard for the day.
Yep.
And it could be something, you might have already said it, but something that you maybe just want to tell the community of Rhode Island or community of Portsmouth, or maybe just a favorite quote or mantra that you have.
Wow.
I know it's a tough question to put you on the spot.
No, there's a few that I've learned over time, but I think one of the best ones is faith without works, dead. And and basically you can have all the beliefs in the world and all the thoughts in the world, but if you don't put the work in,
Yeah,
it's not happening.
I like that.
Not happening.
I like that a lot.
And this comes from somebody who lives the life of procrastination. Right? I procrastinate every day. It's a job for me to get up and focus and do what I need to do and continue to get better. I mean, year 53 is just about a wrap. And I feel like, honestly, I've learned more in the last year just in life than I have the previous 30.
That's incredible.
There's something going on, and I tie it to having had 15 years of sobriety and getting kind of out of the woods a little bit.
Totally.
And seeing things. But we can talk the game. We can believe we're going to do something, but if you do not put in the work, it's not going to happen.
Love that.
Faith without works is dead.
That's awesome. We're going to finish with that.
That's
Mic drop right there.
It's a wrap. It's
Cool.
a wrap.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tommy. We'll have to do another one with Zach.
Yes,
coming up soon.
Let's get that meathead down here.
We'll go down. Well, we'll go down to your studio for the next one.
Yes, absolutely. And then
Perfect.
I'll bring some guys from Southie down, and I'll let them tell some stories.
All right.
I'll end with this. I have a buddy of mine who shows up on our work sites. I hired him, and he comes down. He's somewhat of a carpenter, and he does some work. And he comes down and he likes to share stories about me
Oh, gee.
from our teen years, and it's a little bit horrifying. So but we'll get into some of that.
Cool. Awesome. Good stuff, Tommy.
Matt, thank you.
Awesome. All right, Rhody Strength signing off.